So I just took a shower, so my eyes are always kind of red after a shower because like I get shampoo in them because I have a lot of hair, it's hard to wash it. And then to like snowball that, I put contacts in for the first time in probably like 3 or 4 weeks, and then I did my lashes. So I just literally looked insane. Like it was like my whole face is red. I'll just show you. Like I literally look like someone shook me. Like just took me and like, oh, but I kind of does feel better without the glasses on. Yeah, those were kind of annoying me. I think I'm just going to be red. Oh my God, out of the shower, I was like, oh my God, I'm so red. We are here. I'm having trouble forming a coherent thought. I am a teacher in May. So all the coherent thoughts have been used, unfortunately. But I am really excited about this topic, and I'm also very excited about next week's topic, and I really hope it doesn't get me on some kind of list. Probably already on it, if we're being honest. Was last week the week we did it on a different night? I can't remember. Literally, I've like lost all sense of time and space. Let me tell you what I've been through. I'm going to post a TikTok about this soon. That'll be like a long ass TikTok. But anyway, I'm in grad school, and we just had like our final, you have to like submit this final thing. And I was just like, I'm going to be honest, in this story, like I cannot call myself a victim because this was purely a prison of my own creation. I had to submit this giant ending credential thing, and it was in 4 parts, and like I just didn't try that hard. But like in my defense, I didn't try that hard the whole time and got all A's. So like I didn't really think I needed to step it up. And then I submitted it. It wasn't that great, kind of forgot about it. And then it was coming up that we had to submit like the next parts of it. And also, to give myself a little bit of credit here, they got our feedback to us like 2 weeks late than they said they would. So when I planned a trip last weekend, if you saw my Instagram story, I was in Alabama for some graduations. When I planned a trip for last weekend, I was like, oh, it's after the deadline, no big deal. But then I found out like a couple days before I left that I like didn't meet the minimum for passing, which like that was 100% my fault. Like that I am going to take accountability for because I didn't do a good job. Like I read it and I was like, that's objectively bad. Why did I turn that in? But like I had a lot going on. And again, I've been turning in things in that were objectively bad for months now. So I basically had to redo the entire thing because what I turned in was literal garbage. And so I had to redo the entire thing while I was in Alabama. So like I literally am just having no thoughts because like I was in the car. So thankful for my friend who drove the whole time so I could work in the car. But I just feel like, and then I didn't sleep as much because, you know, I had to wake up early to leave there. And then I'm in an Airbnb. You never sleep as well as in an Airbnb. And I got home at like 9 p.m. Sunday night and then went to work yesterday. And yesterday was like busy but good. Like I felt so happy because also yesterday I found out I passed it. So that's fucking lit. I'm not done yet. I still have to submit like field hours and things like that. But like it's looking like we have very smooth sailing. So I almost failed my master's. Almost failed my master's. Never failed. Almost failed. So I like, my professor emailed me on Monday that I passed. A really shout out to my professor. Like there was part C and D that I had to completely redo. And she told me like, you have to have it done by Monday. And so I emailed her part D on Saturday afternoon, and which was part D was smaller. So I did it first. So I was like, let me just get a win here. Like, let me do part D first. So I submitted part D on Saturday. And then she got back to me Sunday morning and like gave me the feedback for part D. And she was like, you're really close. Like just really put a lot of effort into part C. Like you're almost there. And then I just like, I worked my ass off on part C. It was like 27 pages and I literally wrote it in one day. And as much as I hated it and wanted to die the entire time, it was not good. Like it was, so I did a good job like meeting the requirements of it. But it like, that's not school. Like, that's very not what's happening at school every day. Like I used real materials and stuff, but the way it was like, do these assessments and then track all, it was just so like, I was like, people are not doing this. Like trust and believe I'm there. People are not doing this. So, but like I did it because that was the project, but just like, that's not happening on a day-to-day basis. Like I literally wrote 27 pages about the data from like 1 unit's worth of assessments. 27 pages of analysis of it. 27 pages. Did it in literally 1 day, because part D was the separate, like, I think that one ended up being like 16 pages or something like that. And yeah, so I can't believe that I did that. I haven't done anything like that in so long, and I really don't know what even happened. I just like did it, and I don't know. It was kind of gratifying to do it. But yeah, so all that to say, my brain is broken. And congrats, Des says, you got a job? Congratulations. 27 pages in 1 day would have never happened to me. Okay, so of that 27 pages, 12 pages of it was like images of graphs that I made of scores, and then like me analyzing each graph. So it wasn't 78 pages of just text. And then it's grad school, so you have the reference page. Like, it's not 27 of like full text. And then I was showing it to my class. I was like, look how much I wrote about you. Because it was real data. Like, I do give them assessments. So like I had the stuff to work with. But yeah. It was just a lot, but I'm so happy it's done. So like Monday, I felt so good. Because Monday I was like on a high of like, I found out I passed. I got this off my back. Like, it felt so good. And then today I felt like the tiredness hit me that I was like, holy shit. Jesus Christ. So anyway, we are here today to talk about how charities scam. And I mean the word scam very loosely. There are many types of scam. I think not spending money wisely is in a way a scam. So some of this might not be a literal scam, and you might be like, everyone already knew that. I know, and we're talking about it. Nurse, not that ratchet. Nurse, if you are a nurse, happy Nurses Appreciation Week. Give it up for my nurses. We have to share our fucking weeks, which is rude as shit, but it's fine. My admin actually slayed today. Slayed. I have never had a teacher appreciation slay as hard as this right here. Actually, the nachos in this are pretty much tied for number 1. So anyway, they hired like a mobile barista. Like, they had a full espresso machine. Like, it was a good barista. And they had a coffee bar out for us this morning. It was so good. Like, that was genuinely one of the best lattes. They had the pebble ice. They had lots of different flavors, lots of options. Like, it literally was being at a good coffee shop. It was great. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. And what I was saying, it's the best. The only other thing that ties for number 1 is at my old school, one time they got a nacho food truck, and that school was in Miami. So think about, like, there's going to be good food trucks in Miami. It's a major city. And it was very good nachos, like really good. Happy Teachers Week back. I know you're undervalued when you have a week. So that kind of honestly goes along with how charities scam. So anyway, let's get into it. I think I had something else to say, but I don't remember what it was. Also, sidebar, lots of sidebars tonight. I really wanted like a fun little drink while I was doing this, and then I thought about getting, like, I have Mike's Hard Lemonade, and I was gonna get one, but my head kind of hurts, and I'm literally just so tired that I was like, I feel like if I have a drink, I'm gonna feel horrible tomorrow. But I really wanted like a fun little drink, but I literally don't have anything that's not alcohol. There was a Sprite in there, but it was the cranberry one, and I don't end up liking on that one that much, so I didn't want to be disappointed. So I have water, and I have Sour Patch Kids. I bought these at the gas station in Alabama, if you know, you know. Very good. They're like a lemonade Sour Patch Kid, and I love lemon stuff. So, how do charities scam? They're stealing from you, but they're also not stealing from you. They're mainly stealing from the people that they are supposed to be serving. So, what is a nonprofit? Also, I literally feel like I'm in a fucking job interview right now. Like, this is fluorescent lighting. Like, we really need to upgrade it in here. Like, I need to find, there's boxes fucking everywhere. I need to find my little glow light thing and put it in the corner and turn the lights off. Actually, I think I am going to turn a light off. Like, it's just, I literally feel like I'm in the sun right now, and it's not really working for me. If it sounds like I'm climbing over plastic, it's because I am. Hee. We had new vents put in, so there's like plastic over all my boxes of things. Girl, this background is not it. Respect the moving hustle, but damn, no, I know. You are getting a new version of the pink wall. You're getting a new version of the pink wall. Yeah. I will take care of this weekend. And I just told you all. Okay, I just told you I had to write like literally 40 pages in one weekend. You think I had time to be doing the pink wall? I'm sorry. I'm just a person. So anyway, what is a nonprofit? And I am considered an expert in this because I Googled it. And I had an internship at a nonprofit very briefly. I thought I wanted to work in the nonprofit space. Like when I was in college, I majored in sociology. That's what I really thought I wanted to do. Like work in nonprofit management. Like I was thinking about going and getting a master's in nonprofit management. Like that was very much what I wanted. But then I did an internship at a nonprofit and I was like, oh, 90% of what we do is fundraising and only 10% is actually working with people. I'm good on that because I really hate sales and fundraising is just sales, but harder. That's it. Let me go through who subscribed. The 13 Thring has gifted a sub. Thank you. We love that. Elizabeth Hunt resubscribed. Fairy Charlie resubscribed. Shancy resubscribed. Not Good Kyle followed. Thank you. Thank you. Who is literally on the board for a nonprofit arts district. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot going on. So a nonprofit organization operates to serve a public or social benefit rather than make money for owners or shareholders. So its main goal is to help a cause. Maybe it's hunger, maybe it's education, maybe it's disaster relief, maybe it's something like super niche and it's like, oh, it's for like dogs that need physical therapy. Their goal is not to generate profit. So income use, any money earned is supposed to be reinvested into the organization's mission, not given to individuals as profit. And they are often tax exempt under laws like 501c3. So when people say like, oh, we're a 501c3, that means they are a registered nonprofit with the government. And there like are some standards around that, but keep this in mind that they don't pay taxes. So a lot of people use them to get away with not paying taxes on certain money, but not actually spending it either. So if you don't know like the legalities of the nonprofits, that's like a very, very basic overview. So this is one way that I feel they scam. A lot of them use a very significant amount of their money internally. So what I mean by that is, so let's say I own a nonprofit that's supposed to be helping hungry people. I'll give just like a super generic one. If you donate $30 to me, I spent $20 on printing flyers about what we're doing, and I only spent $10 on actual food for people. Using money internally can mean like marketing, people's salaries, business expenses, office space expenses, things like that. Working at a nonprofit, they treat you like a paycheck is a suggestion and you should volunteer and work for free. It's so backwards. Yeah, they really don't treat their employees well. So salaries. This is one common way that they keep money within the organization. And to be clear, salaries are literally not created equal. We're going to be mainly talking about the people with high salaries because that's kind of like the issue. Most people that are working on the ground with actual people do not get paid that much, and a lot of them are volunteering. So charities are legally required to spend their income on advancing their mission. I spilled Sour Patch Kid little sugars. So they're legally required to spend their income on advancing their mission, but many exploit loopholes and vague definitions to divert large portions of donations to internal expenses. In some cases, only a small percentage of the money actually raised reaches the people or the causes the charity claims to support. Instead, a significant amount is spent on executive salaries, fundraising expenses, and lavish administrative costs. For example, some CEOs of large charities receive six or even seven-figure salaries justified as competitive compensation, despite the organization's tax-exempt, mission-driven status. So competitive compensation, this is what I was saying on TikTok earlier. Competitive compensation basically means that they're like, oh, if we want a CEO, we need a CEO to run this organization. The job title of CEO on average makes $500,000 a year, whatever it may be. I don't know what it is. Because keep in mind, a lot of CEOs are CEOs of small companies. So there's like a small amount of CEOs making all of the money in the world. One time working for a nonprofit, they forgot to pay me, but are you on your phone? So they are basically saying we have to pay our CEO this much or else we won't be able to get a CEO, because to do CEO work, this is how much it costs. Kind of like I get paid a certain rate at my current school. I would not go be a teacher at a different school for less money. I mean, maybe I would if they were like offering a better life, but you get the premise of what I'm saying. So that's why they say they have to pay them so much money. So let's talk about some of the highest paid nonprofit and charity executives. So most nonprofit employees earn modest salaries, but often directors and C-suite leaders at large nonprofits, especially in healthcare, healthcare. Keep this in mind. I could do a whole nother stream about healthcare. Honestly, I should. And major cultural institutions receive compensation packages that rival those in the private sector. So, like I was saying, part of this I understand because it's important to retain good talent. Like, you have to pay your employees well to keep them. But this is the thing. They don't pay the rest of their employees well. So it's clearly not that. The executive director at mine makes $52,000. $500K is wild, but some people are making it. Please do a stream about healthcare or insurance. I want to. It's just so confusing. I remember, so I have a business minor. I just felt like that would be a good thing to do, so I did it, and it was really boring. So I remember when I was in insurance and risk management, baby, that was not the room for me. They did not appreciate my sense of humor. I've never been more silent in a class in my life. Normally, I'm that annoying person that doesn't shut the fuck up, but I'm trying to grow beyond that. Anyway, I was in risk management and insurance class, and they were teaching us the different types of insurance, and I was like, oh, I distinctly remember I raised my hand, and I go, yeah, all of these are kind of bad. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, all of them put like a ton of risk on the customer, and like, they seem like the way they're set up, they're like not designed to serve the function that they're supposed to serve, which is to cover medical expenses. Like that, like it seems like they're not good to me. Like I literally just expressed that it seemed like if the goal of insurance is to cover medical expenses, this was not set up in a way to accomplish that goal. And I was like, and we were talking about like the PPOs and the HMOs, like I don't even fucking remember anymore. And then she was like, well, these are the types of insurance that we have, so that's how it works. And I was like, oh, but like, you know, keep in mind, I know this is insufferable to say in a business class. I was a sociology major, so I'm used to classes where there's lots of talking and lots of people talking like this, okay? Just before I tell you what I'm about to say. I literally said in a room of 80 business like fucking insurance majors. Half the people in there were insurance majors. Also, I bodied them. The average in the class was a C-, got a B+. And I got a B+, because not an A, because I missed a class because I had a job interview because it was my last semester. So I missed like one participation grade, and that's what got me that grade. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so the thing that I said that they really did not like is I was like, oh, well, you know, with like universal healthcare, a lot of the like complicated legalities here can be really like simplified and streamlined so that it's more efficient to cover healthcare cost. Because again, I think the point is to cover healthcare cost. That was never the point. It was to make money. That's a business 101 that I skipped, that I guess everyone else magically took. I don't know. No one put it on my schedule. They should have gave you points for your job interview. So she did, it was like a multi-part interview, and I missed a test, and she did let me take the test and gave me full credit on it. It was just a participation grade, and I could have like made it up in another way, but I didn't because I was graduating and didn't care. Was 100%, like literally, I don't know, they just didn't like me. So these are some of the highest earning nonprofit executives. If you notice, all of the top ones are health related. So I'm just like Kaiser Foundation Health Plan. That's a nonprofit. How is that a nonprofit? You make $13.6 million a year. Christus Health, Ernie Sadu, it was not very Christ-like for you to make $16.2 million. And this was in 2022. I bet it's even higher now. So let's peruse this list. Like I said, top 5 are healthcare. Is it annoying to you all if I eat Sour Patch Kids? I feel like it sounds disgusting. So, top 5 are healthcare, or 6. No, 5 are healthcare. New York Philharmonic, $2.6 million. Okay. That's too much money. That's a lot of money. Is it too much? I don't know. I think the New York Philharmonic brings in a lot of money. So I'm curious. And also that's a nonprofit that like, they should be paying all their employees better. I'm confident of that. But I don't know. That's one that I guess I can see this a little bit. 2.6 is a lot, but think about how large of an organization it is, how much money it brings in, and what I was saying about the competitive salary. And like, they're not a food bank. I don't know. Museum of Modern Art, $2.4 million. Also wondering about this. Seems very high, but again, it is New York. But $2 million is $2 million fucking dollars. And again, MoMA brings in a lot of money. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about those two. The William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. What the fuck is that? William and Flora. Oh, it's founded by the HP people, and they award grants to a variety of liberal and progressive causes. What the hell does that mean? Let's look at their website. All right, like trigger warning if something's horrible. I've never been on this website. Using evidence to improve lives in Uganda. Special projects. Climate. Yeah. Looks like they give grants like they said. Okay. That's good, I guess, but is it $2.5 million good? I'm going to look up how much in grants they give a year. Hewlett Foundation grants per year. It's on their website. Man, and I did my lashes and one of them is sticking. It was founded in 1966. Okay. Total assets and grants breakdown. I started making my streams. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Oh, you can search. I thought it was literally just a broken website. Anyway, I started making my streams shorter so that we can go on these little tangents. Oh my God, it's already been 20 minutes. How did that happen? I guess I was talking about nothing for a while. Wait, I lost my website that I wanted. 3.8 million. Okay, so like multiple grant to race forward was more than their CEO makes. A couple million in, okay, I guess I'm fine with this. I guess I'm okay with that one. The health ones though, they're losing me. I appreciate this sidebar because it gave me time to make a meme about your business class. They would not appreciate it, but we will. Sorry, I'm eating. They're just good. So, I had AI do some of this. Not ChatGPT. I really like Perplexity if you're looking for sources. But anyway, so it's not 100% perfect. It's a little bit biased. Some of the sources it was using, I was like, not the best, but okay. Like a lot of Wikipedia, things like that. That might just be misreported. But I just wanted to give some general numbers. So the median CEO compensation at nonprofits with budgets over 50 million is around $273,000 to $1.5 million. So that is a massive fucking range. I feel like $237,000 is not crazy at all for someone managing. That's actually kind of low if you're managing a $50 million budget. But 1.5 million is quite a lot. I don't need a sociology degree to annoy business majors. And so the median is about 132 for all nonprofit executives. And again, lots of nonprofits were small. Like the one that I worked at probably paid their executive, or her title was director, I think, executive director. I don't remember. They probably paid her about that much. But again, it was a nonprofit that like 8 people worked at. And even then, I felt like I was like, where's this money going? This means top executives may earn 10 to 100 times more than many of their staff. So this is the typical salary range. This is what I was saying that AI did. So the total nonprofit, especially of the large healthcare orgs, are 8 million to 16 million, but large nonprofits that are non-healthcare, it's 120,000 to 250,000. Directors make between 90 to 200,000, but managers and coordinators only make 40,000, which is very low, to 115,000. So there is, like in most fields, a huge discrepancy in pay. So here is some of like the examples that I gave you. So of Christus Health, the CEO pay, like we said, is $16.2 million. That was the most recent number that I could find. And the average nurse there makes $82,000 a year. So the CEO is making 140 to 200 times what the nurses are making. 200 times. 200 times is crazy as hell. And the fact that they're a nonprofit is crazy as hell. Kaiser Permanente, it's 120 times higher. The CEO pay, nurses there make about $115,000. Providence St. Joseph, theirs is 70 to 90. And then Centera Healthcare, theirs is 40 times higher. So the Christus Health is insane. We might need to do a stream about Christus Health. It seems like they're ruining people's lives. So another common tactic that they use aside from pay is inflating reported program spending. A lot of charities count marketing or promotional materials as a part of their program services because they're loosely related to educational content. So when they put a flyer in your mail for fundraising, they say, oh, we're educating the public. So that money counts towards our program services, not towards internal spending, because it's part of education about the organization. This practice allows them to appear as though they're using most of their budget for charitable work, when in reality, the majority of it is going towards self-promotion or donor acquisition. Donor acquisition is getting people to donate. So this is what I was saying, and this is why it's so difficult to track, because they do have to report how much they're spending, but program services is extremely vague. So this is why at the beginning they were saying people use loopholes. The loophole is not really a hole. It's more of a very large, it's just an open street. Like they're just like, here's where you go. Like you don't have to search for the loophole. Like they're just like, go that way and you don't have to pay taxes. Great. Outsourcing. Lots of charities outsource fundraising to third-party companies that often take massive cuts of 70% or more of every dollar raised. So there's basically companies that you can hire to like have people call and solicit money, but the company gets 70% of the money. And I'm sure the people donating do not know that. But most of their money is going to for-profit telemarketers or fundraising firms. This is especially common in badge charities that support vague causes like veterans or children. If you see a charity that supports children, which children? Where? In what way? Like, for the children, what do you mean? Also, I have to tell you about something that happened to me recently. I really hated this and I didn't know how to respond. So me and my friend were out at dinner and we were at one of those food hall places. Side note, I feel like those places are really overhyped, but they did have really good alcohol. But anyway, so we're just sitting there eating a pizza, drinking, chilling. And this little kid comes up to us, not little, looked like maybe 9 or 10, and was like, hi, I'm selling candy to raise money for my dance team. And I was like, oh, okay. And they had Reese's and stuff. And we were like, I'm trying to remember if it was a boy or a girl. I really can't remember because what happened next really jaded it. And I was like, we don't want any candy, but we're happy to donate a couple dollars to your dance team because it was a child's and it's a couple dollars. Then someone who looked like maybe in their early to mid 20s swoops in literally out of nowhere. I swear to you, this kid walked up alone. I assumed that their parent was sitting at a restaurant nearby or something and was just yeah, go around and ask people. Because it was in a pretty nice neighborhood. It would be a good place if you needed to fundraise for a dance. You know what I'm saying? That's why I didn't really think a ton of it. And it was a child. This adult swoops in out of nowhere and is like, we can do Cash App, and holds up Cash App. And I was so taken aback. So I scan it, and then on my phone, it gives me a message and said, this is a scam likely. Others have reported this account. And then I was like, oh, my phone's not loading right now. But let me just take a picture and I'll do it later. And she was like, are you sure? You just wait. It'll load. We can wait. We don't mind waiting. And I was like, no, my phone isn't working. So I'll just take a picture. And after I said it more direct like that, they were like, okay, and then left. And I literally just felt like I could feel my spine ugh, because I was like, what the fuck, and who the fuck is exploiting this child? It was so strange. So strange. Maybe it was an older sibling and that's what, I have no idea. And then the older person had a hoodie on, so I really couldn't see their face super well because I was debating. I was like, do I report this? Do I call the police? But I felt A, the police were probably going to do nothing, and B, I didn't feel like I had any information that was super helpful, and then I didn't actually take a picture of it, and I should have. Just all around, I could have made some better choices there to probably protect that child, but it just caught me so off guard that I was just so taken aback. Because I said, I've seen kids in this neighborhood selling Girl Scout cookies, doing things like that. There's a place where people walk nearby there. I've seen multiple cheerleading teams where it's the team and multiple parents there in their little uniforms. That's why I literally did not think anything of it, because this is a place where stuff like that happens. And yeah, so that was a lot. So that's a different kind of scamming. So like we said, the outsourcing of the very vague causes like veterans or children. So we're going to talk about some of the worst ones. This is Cancer Fund of America, or CFA, not to be confused with Chick-fil-A. They claimed they were helping cancer patients with aid and support. What they actually did, less than 3% of donations actually went to cancer patients. The rest funded salaries, fundraising, and luxury items like cruises, jet skis, and high-paying jobs for family members. It was run by James Reynolds Sr. and was a part of a network of sham charities run by his other relatives. In 2015, the Federal Trade Commission called it one of the worst charity scams in America and forced it to be shut down. So the good news is a lot of the ones did get shut down, but that just means like new ones pop up all the time. Like I feel like this is what they run. They know they're going to get shut down and then they just go and do it again under a different name. So Kids Wish Network, they claimed they were granting wishes for dying children. Make-A-Wish type vibe, it seems. Reality, less than 3 cents of every dollar raised went to kids. They spent over $100 million on for-profit fundraising companies. Why are there for-profit fundraising companies? Why is that legal? That seems like what the FTC needs to go after, because that's what it seems like is the scheme here, is a for-profit company probably like cold calls people or gets their friends and is like, make a nonprofit in your name, because it's not super hard to register a nonprofit, kind of similar to an LLC. It's a little bit harder, but not particularly. Make a nonprofit in your name, give us the right to fundraise, and we'll do everything for you, and you'll just sit back and collect money. We get 70% for doing all the work. That's, it seems like, what exactly is happening. Like, you have to cut it off at its source, which it seems like, from my perspective, is the for-profit fundraising companies. They're consistently ranked by charity watchdogs as one of the worst charities in the nation, and they are still legally operating due to careful adherence to technical charity laws despite ethical concerns. So that's what I said. Like, if they have enough money, they can figure out how to do this. A video.
Well, it's good to be generous, especially on Kindness Day, but there are some charities that deserve extra scrutiny. 8 on Your Side investigator Mark Douglas has been tracking some of those charities for over 16 years, and right now, tonight, we are talking about the Kids Wish Network. Tell us more, Mark.
Well, Stacey, Kids Wish Network now raises about $14 million a year from donors who want to help children. Makes sense, right? Now, as the name implies, this Pasco-based charity grants wishes to kids with life-threatening illnesses. But wait till you see how little money they spend on that. This week, the Kids Wish Network showed up at a toy giveaway in Lake Wales with yo-yos, puzzles, and stuffed animals that their CFO claimed were worth a fortune.
About, I believe, $200,000 worth of toys and necessity items.
Last year, Kids Wish Network told the IRS it raised about $14 million and spent less than 1%, that's 1 penny on the dollar, on wishes for kids with life-threatening illness. The charity paid its 2 top managers $340,000, nearly 3 times as much as those wishes. How's that for a Kids Wish executive's wish come true? Small wonder a former Wish grantor came to us 6 years ago.
My name is Meanda Dubé, and I am talking to you guys because I worked for a company that I believe is doing sketchy things with their fundraising expenses.
Back in 2012, Meanda Dubé helped us uncover nearly $1.7 million in fundraising deals between Kids Wish and its founder.
The response that I've gotten was to lose my job, and among other things, to be called names and ridiculed.
Dubé's whistleblowing prompted Kids Wish to call the FBI, accusing her of crimes.
She said that I am a liar and that I am a thief.
Federal prosecutors never charged Dubé, so Kids Wish sued her for libel in a case that's still dragging on. Kids Wish also tried to get me arrested for knocking on the door of its Pasco headquarters.
He wants to see our executive director, but we have a restraining order against him.
There was no restraining order and no arrest. Too bad for Kids Wish that wish never came true. A year later, CNN, the Center for Investigative Reporting, and the St. Petersburg Times named Kids Wish as the worst charity in America.
Thank you
But
very
a few
much.
years ago, you were labeled the worst charity in America. What's changed since
Have a
then?
great day.
I love
think
this
is
guy.
about
He's
the
not letting
community
up.
center.
Well, for the record, we were in Lake Wales, not Lakeland, but hey, she was a little rattled by our money questions. Now, speaking of money, fundraisers at Kids Wish keep 85% of the $12.6 million they raised on behalf of that charity last year. I wonder how many donors would still give if they knew that.
That is absolutely insane. That guy's my hero. I love local investigative journalism. Disabled Veterans National Foundation. They claim that they support disabled veterans with goods and services. They spent almost all of their donations on fundraising and overhead. They hired a fundraising firm which pocketed most of the money. They sent veterans a lot of items like blankets and candy. Don't piss me off. You send these people to do crime in the Middle East, and then you're going to send them a lollipop? Immediately a no. Eventually, they agreed to reform after the investigation, but they were not fully shut down. Oh, they faced a $9.7 million fine.
A charity that has been claiming to help disabled veterans is under fire, forced to restructure its board of directors and the for-profit company behind it. It now faces a precedent-setting fine. If you've watched 360 over the years, you know all about our commitment to America's fighting men and women. You may also know about a charity called the Disabled Veterans National Foundation. They're the outfit that distributed chef's hats and candy and other knickknacks instead of something, actually useful to veterans. A small and somewhat absurd part of the bigger problem here. More than $100 million in donations going into the pockets of private fundraisers instead of helping vets. Well, tonight, the New York State Attorney General says enough is enough, and it's really all because of Drew Griffin and producer David Fitzpatrick's reporting dating back to 2010 when they first tried to find out where all your donations have been going.
This organization raised $30 million in funds supposedly to give to the veterans.
That was Drew Griffin back in 2010, standing outside the Washington, D.C. headquarters of the charity, demanding answers about where all the millions of dollars in donations up until then had gone. Here he is in Louisiana, knocking on the door of the charity's president, Priscilla Wilkowitz.
Ms. Wilkowitz?
We've agreed to talk to you.
Nobody's agreed. So here is the question. It's $64 million raised over 3 years, and none of the money has gone to any veterans, ma'am.
And here again, Drew is at a small veteran shelter in Birmingham, Alabama, where some of the donations from the Disabled Veterans National Foundation turned out to be not money or anything the charity actually needed, but candy.
The great thing they sent us was 11,520 bags of coconut M&Ms.
And at each step along the way,
Who got that from some misorder at their job?
Officials from the private fundraiser that was taking in all that money, Quadriga Art, denying that anything was wrong, that the way they took in donations and kept almost every single dime of it was just fine. Here's CEO Mark Schulhoff in 2012
M&Ms.
reading a prepared statement.
This is not making millions off the back of veterans. What this is helping charities do good.
Tonight you will see a very different story. Here's senior investigative correspondent Drew Griffin with an exclusive report, keeping them honest.
It is one of the largest settlements ever recorded by the New York Attorney General's Office for deceptive charitable fundraising. The Disabled Veterans National Foundation's chief private fundraiser, Quadriga Art, has agreed to pay huge fines, change the way it does business, and possibly set a new and much more transparent course for charities across the nation. Attorney General Eric Schneiderman calls the private fundraising firm Quadriga, quote, despicable in how it has deceived the mostly old and gullible out of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Some of these pleas that were put out by Quadriga were heart-wrenching, that they were helping some poor particular veteran get a car and get a better life. And we've now learned through our investigation that in some cases those stories were totally fabricated, that the foundation at issue had never helped the veterans that they used in their ads.
Quadriga will pay a $9.7 million fine, and it will forgive nearly $13 million in debt still owed it by the Disabled Veterans National Foundation.
They weren't even paying their bills.
All right, so now you're getting back to me. Is there going to be an interview? CNN has been chasing Quadriga and the Disabled Veterans National Foundation for years, ever since we found out these two groups, one a company, one a charity, have been taking your generous donations to our nation's disabled veterans and pocketing almost all of the money.
We're doing a story on Quadriga Arts. We're with CNN.
Quadriga, the investigation discovered, had almost total control over the charity. In effect, the charity was a front for Quadriga's profit-driven scheme.
They've got the folks who set up the charity going. They use their counsel to advise the charity, and they entered into a contract which enabled Quadriga to control the flow of funds. Quadriga put up the money for the direct mail campaign, but then it had total control and discretion over the funds going in.
Out of a total of $116 million raised by the Veterans Charity over the years, $104 million of it went to the direct mail fundraiser, according to New York State.
I've seen their
and
stuff
most
before.
of the donations that it made, called gifts in kind, like those coconut M&Ms, were useless to veterans.
Not even the good
The
M&Ms.
abuses here really span the whole gamut of abuses that you could see in a charitable organization. That's why this is such an interesting case, because they were falsifying the value of the gifts in kind. They were sending things that no disabled veteran needed, like M&Ms, chef's hats.
As a result of the settlement,
hats.
the DVNF founding board members, including its founder Priscilla Wilkowitz, are being removed from the charity.
Her house is not nice for someone
Director has already
scamming.
left, and the charity is banned from doing any business with Quadriga Art for 3 years. In addition to
Why
its
only 3
huge
years?
fine and the forgiven debt, Quadriga Art itself and its president, Mark Shuloff, must now fully disclose its fundraising costs up front, so would-be charities understand just how much of the donated money, your donated money, Quadriga will keep for itself.
The donor's intent, in this case, was to help disabled veterans, and to take money that people are trying to spend to help disabled veterans just to feed your own overhead and to pay your executives off, as Quadriga did here, is pretty despicable.
All right, Drew Griffin joins us now. First of all, Drew, terrific work, truly keeping them honest. Secondly here, despicable. That's how New York's Attorney General describes this company, but they're still in business.
Right, and promising to do much better. In fact, in a statement to us, John, Quadriga Art, which is a family company, says an uncle who helped run it, Tommy Shuloff, has resigned. The president, the nephew, Mark Shuloff, says, "We have taken responsibility for the mistakes that were made. We deeply apologize for our actions and have taken steps to ensure that this situation will never occur."
She probably
again.
has gambling
As for
debt or
Disabled
something.
Veterans National Foundation, that woman who slammed the door in our face, gone, as are the
Gone.
founding members of the group. But they go on. A spokesperson says, well, this is very significant and positive step for the DVNF that will enable us to improve the services we deliver and increase transparency with our loyal donors.
These people just lie.
If they just did anything, it would be an improvement, John.
It's still true. Is it wrong?
This
that I'm
guy's
so
really
surprised
sassy.
that
I
these
like
two
it.
groups that took in, more than $100 million and apparently did so little to help disabled vets that they both survived?
This is the frustration that David Fitzpatrick, my producer, and I have had since we began this reporting on these charities. The laws in this country on fundraising, on nonprofits, on these charities are so weak. You
See?
can literally
This
get
guy
away
gets
with
it.
just about anything. And I'm not kidding. That's why the best advice to anyone who is donating money is to not believe anything that comes in a direct mail advertisement. I wouldn't send a dime to anybody who sends you an advertisement from a direct mail campaign for a charity. And then check out the charities that you are giving to. You can go on Charity Navigator, Charity Watchdog, check it out. Just don't give money to these people. They are keeping almost all of it.
Drew, it's great advice. And again, terrific report.
I'm obsessed with journalism.
It
I thought
charity-
about going to school for journalism, but I don't like calling people when they don't pick up. Non-profits for tax breaks. So wealthy individuals often create private foundations or donor-advised funds or other nonprofit structures to secure substantial tax breaks. These vehicles allow donors to receive immediate and significant income tax deductions for the value of their donations. So I can start a nonprofit and then donate to my own nonprofit, including appreciating assets like stocks, real estate, or art. They can avoid capital gains tax by transferring appreciating assets directly to the nonprofit or trust. So let's say I start a nonprofit that is to feed hungry children. Cool, I'm starting the nonprofit to feed hungry children. Let's say I own a condo in South Beach. I don't. Wish I did. I can put the condo in the nonprofit's name. So then any the condo is owned by the nonprofit, giving it tax breaks. Like I don't have to pay as much. I don't know if it works for real estate actually, but anyway, you can transfer expensive things that you would normally. Oh no, it says real estate. Just kidding. It does say real estate. So nonprofit can own the condo. So then the nonprofit doesn't have to pay taxes on the condo. Whole time I'm living in the condo. They can reduce estate and gift taxes as assets placed in private foundations are removed from the donor's taxable estate. So let's say I really don't want to pay taxes this year. I can just donate tons and tons and tons and tons of money to my own nonprofit to reduce my tax burden. And then I'm still in control of that money because it's in my nonprofit. So maybe the nonprofit needs to have a retreat in Mexico. The nonprofit had to. You get what I'm saying? Do you see why this is a problem? I could picture Leslie Knope giving all these charities, being radicalized by the truth, and then forming a nonprofit for the national parks, but only for good, managed by Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson would never manage a nonprofit. That goes against everything he believes, I fear. So donor-advised funds are financial tools that let rich people give away money, but get an immediate tax break and get to keep control of when or if the money is ever distributed. That money can stay internal into that nonprofit. Nonprofits have bank accounts. There's no legal deadline to spend the money, so it can sit there indefinitely, all while being counted as charitable giving. It's such fucking bullshit. So while these structures are legal and can fund meaningful projects, there's growing concern about many wealthy donors using them primarily for tax advantages rather than for public benefit. So wealthy donors often give to their own foundations, and the law only requires a minimal payout. It's as little as 5% for private foundations. Sorry, I just kicked the light and it almost fell over. And it was like falling forward into the computer. That was a scary touch and go moment. So they can put $100,000 a year into their nonprofit and only spend $5,000 of it. Delayed or limited impact, they may take years or even decades to reach working charities. If they ever do actually try to benefit the public, it's delayed and often a minimal impact. Self-dealing and control. Some donors use their foundations to fund pet projects, personal interest, or even family salaries and travel, all while receiving tax breaks. So like when you see like Bravo stars running charitable events for their nonprofit and it's really just a party that they're throwing, like they're not actually helping a ton of people at that event, kind of giving like Vanderpump Dogs. That is what I'm talking about right here. So scale of the issue. In 2022, 41% of charitable donations went into private foundations or donor-advised funds, up from 37% in 2021. And like I said, actually, I don't think I said this. Not all private foundations are bad. Some of them do great and effective work. A lot of them don't. These vehicles are disproportionately used by the wealthy. Many of these entities provide little direct benefit to the public. So the Zuckerberg-Chan initiative. In 2015, Mark Zuckerberg announced he would give away 99% of his wealth through the Zuckerberg-Chan initiative, framed as a charitable act. The initiative is not a nonprofit, it's an LLC, meaning it is not required to disclose finances or operate for the public benefit. He received positive PR and tax advantages while retaining full control of how the money is used, including political donations, private investments, and lobbying. Unlike a traditional nonprofit, the LLC structure gave him the ability to use the money for non-charitable purposes. So it's literally called an initiative, but it's not a nonprofit. So I think they do have to pay taxes within it, but they get tax breaks because they're saying, oh, we're spending this money for charitable giving within the initiative. Chan Zuckerberg's initiative nonprofit school is closing due to lack of funding. Oh, this guy sucks.
This is a shocker to the parents of the primary school, you know? This is devastating. I mean, in the meeting, it was so many emotions going on. People were very upset.
When they gave us the news, they said, oh, it was an experiment. So you're telling us that our kids are experiments? And if you start an experiment, keep going or do something else, you know, to make it work.
They opened the school in 2016, offering free education and resources to low-income families. Parents of over 400 students learned it would be closing at the end of the 2026 academic year due to lack of continued funding. When did it open? 2016. Toothless and homeless. The homeless and the toothless. It's, what is it? Homeless Not Toothless Foundation. This is a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills thing, if you don't know what I'm talking about.
It was devastating because it's a really good school that they do get a lot of support. Clinics come and take care of like dentists, vision.
I feel sad for my kids because like the connections that they have at the school, like we're gonna have to restart everything, get to know new teachers, get to know new
Very
students.
Scotch touch.
They've run out of money.
They say they run out of money, but there's no way they're running out of money.
I feel like that's not true. And we're not gonna be honest about what's really going on.
It's hard to believe that they don't have no money because but around this area they do have a lot of money. What a coincidence!
absolutely have
that
money.
is a school that is based on the Latino community. I have 2 jobs. As soon as I pick up my kid, I have to drop him off and go get another, go to my second job.
What is this school meant for your daughter and your family?
Everything was planned to stay here. Explaining to my daughter, because she knows, she already knows. She was really sad. She's been really sad. She said that
So it's closing next year at the
They
end of the
start
year.
at 3 years old here. My son is 9. And she's 6. We've been here since the beginning, so it's really sad. This is our family, This is all we know.
That is like so evil to then start a school and just
This
fucking
is a
close
shock.
it. Like that's insane. A little preview for next week. Donald Trump created the foundation in 1988, supposedly to distribute charitable funds. Reality, it was used to settle personal legal disputes, buy a $10,000 portrait of him, and make political donations. These are all violations of nonprofit laws. The New York Attorney General dissolved the foundation in 2018 after an investigation, calling it a shell that functioned without any oversight or functioning board, and he was ordered to pay $2 million in damages. Perfect. I love that. I don't even want to watch the video about this. We'll talk about him enough next week. Do you guys want to watch it? It's only 1 minute and 23 seconds. We can watch it, I guess. How the Trumps paid their business with charity money. In 2009 and 2010, outside donors wrote checks to the foundation totaling $1.1 million. Who's donating to this? Probably his friends for tax breaks, I guess. He gave none of his own money, but that did not stop him from doling out the cash. In 2010, he gave $100K to his son's charity with the explicit intent of offsetting costs for its annual golf fundraiser. That same year, the organization employees joined the board of directors at the son's charity. Cool. Perfect. So 2 family members, 6 employees, 1 business partner, and 8 other people were the board of directors. They demanded that the nonprofit pay his for-profit business for the event at the golf club. So he gave money to his son's nonprofit and then forced the nonprofit to pay full price to host an event at his golf club. So he literally just got a tax break on the money and then got it returned back to him. I only have 2 left. I don't think these people thought they were giving to charity. I don't think they cared about that. Tacky. Oh, declined to comment. Shocker. I have to sneeze. Am I allergic to these? So, the Sackler family and Purdue Pharma, the Sacklers own Purdue Pharma, the company behind Oxycontin. They used charitable giving to launder their reputation amid the opioid crisis. They donated millions to museums, universities, and hospitals through their family donations. These were tax deductible and often included naming rights. The Sackler wing at the Met. They get to put their name on shit at schools. The strategy allowed them to gain prestige and influence while hiding the source of their wealth, profits from a drug that fueled a national epidemic. Is philanthropy bad for democracy?
In a recent HBO segment, comedian
I love
John
John Oliver.
Oliver takes on the Sackler family and their company Purdue Pharma, the makers of Oxycontin.
Purdue famously aggressively marketed Oxycontin to doctors as a less addictive painkiller that could be used to treat common conditions like backaches and knee pain,
That's
which
crazy.
was obviously untrue.
The Sacklers have rarely spoken publicly about this addictive painkiller, so Oliver brought on actor Michael Keaton to play Richard Sackler.
A news article about OxyContin addiction says it's caused 59 deaths in a single state. How do you respond?
That's not too bad. It could have been far worse.
In 2001, the opioid crisis was escalating. Richard Sackler wrote an email urging Purdue Pharma staffers to blame the people who were addicted.
Oh, perfect.
What did he actually write?
We have to hammer on the abusers in every way possible. They are the culprits and the problem.
I haven't seen Dope Sick. I want to watch it.
They are reckless criminals.
Sackler genuinely wrote that.
It's time, Guggenheim, to take down the man.
Outraged by the family's actions, activists took to the Guggenheim in New York to demand the museum cut ties with the Sackler family. In response to public pressure, museums like the
400,000 dead.
Guggenheim
That's a
have
lot.
begun to cut ties. The National Portrait Gallery in the UK canceled a $1.3 million donation.
You know
to the
you
Sackler
fucked up
family.
societally when charities send back the money.
Keith Humphreys researches addiction at Stanford University.
They are so insistent on putting their name on all their philanthropic donations. Says to me they really want to be known as patrons of the arts, not as the people who brought us the worst drug epidemic of the last 100 years.
Humphreys says the Sacklers used their social clout to convince regulators, medical schools, and doctors that OxyContin was not addictive. He says rejecting their donations sends a powerful message.
Rich people aren't like you and me. They care a lot about being able to go to dinner parties and fancy places and not be cursed under people's breath. So that elite rejection by museums, and I suspect some universities are going to start rejecting them as well, may motivate them to change, not out of any goodness of their heart, but because they care about that very deeply, maybe more than they care about just the money.
This is not the first time institutions have grappled with accepting donations from the contentious elite.
Big philanthropy is inherently a problem for democracy.
Benjamin Soskis, a historian with the Center on Nonprofits and Philanthropy at the Urban Institute, says this debate really came to a head during the Gilded Age.
I love talking about the Gilded Age.
This was after the Civil War, when oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller became America's first billionaire. Andrew Carnegie was another robber baron. He made a fortune off of steel and ruthlessly broke up unions.
They killed people
The
in the
massive
unions.
fortunes
Not
of
with
the
themselves,
Industrial
but...
Age confronted the public with a real quandary. What do you do if you are asked to accept public donations that are really attractive, that could do good, but that seem to connote a sort of endorsement of the modes of accumulation?
Some communities refused Carnegie's money, saying the libraries he wanted to build were like monuments to exploitation.
I didn't know
In
that.
1905, Rockefeller donated $100,000 to Congregationalist Missionary Society. Soskis says this sparked widespread debate about whether accepting this money would amount to endorsing a merciless oil monopoly.
And that's when the phrase tainted money really became most prominent.
I'm learning this IRL
Half
with
the
you.
nation thought it was cool for the Congregationalists to accept the money, and half thought it was completely immoral.
During the 19th century, it was easy to point to millionaires and philanthropists like Rockefeller and Carnegie as examples of corporate greed.
Still is.
Now the Sacklers have come to represent a similar ethos. But Andy Chambers, an addiction psychiatrist
the
with the
Apprentice
Indiana
music
University School of Medicine, says focusing on individuals like the Sacklers is missing the bigger picture.
What's going on in
I
our
guess it's
healthcare
just a song,
system?
but I'll always associate this with the
Doctors
Apprentice.
are so poorly trained that they, instead of listening to what they were taught in med school, they listen to drug companies. What's going on with that?
Now
Great
we're in what
question.
some people call the second Gilded Age.
We
where
are in a
small
second
number
Gilded
of people
Age.
yet again own a huge chunk of the nation's wealth. And many of these very rich individuals are looking to make big donations. Chambers says addiction research might be a good place to start.
There is an incredible lack of philanthropic interest and support for addiction diseases.
But when it comes to fighting addiction, there's not usually a prestigious
A
museum
Center
wall
for Medical Education is diabolical for them to have their name on. Glad that this guy's taken that down.
billionaires to stamp their names on. For Philosophy Talk, I'm Holly J. McTee.
That was cool. I'm glad we watched that whole thing. So, rounding up at the store. This is controversial. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this, so I did want to talk about it. For once, it's not as bad as people are saying on Twitter. So, even worse, also, my hair looks really good right now. I like it like this. I probably look crazy, but it feels right. Like, I feel like it's serving, like... What's it serving? Like, I look like I'm on a boat in, like, the 1800s to escape the war with the shawl. Or the famine, maybe. Interesting. So anyway, so rounding up at the grocery store, even worse, charities selected aren't always effective or transparent. I feel like I missed something. So anyway, stores rarely provide details about how much the donation actually reaches the cause and what percent is lost to administrative cost, or if the charity has a track record of impact. Some corporations partner with foundations that are controlled by the business itself. So like, I think that's what Taco Bell is. They have a foundation that pays for employees' college, which is actually, I think, one of the better ones, but they do control that money themselves, I believe. And they exist mainly to boost their image, meaning the donations stay within the company's ecosystem. There's also a lack of regulation. In some jurisdictions, the money does not have to be handed over right away. It can sit in accounts, be bundled with future campaigns, or go toward covering the cost of the store's charitable operations. In rare cases, companies have been caught even failing to pass on the full amount or using customer donations to offset required community spending commitments. So when like CVS, and I'm just making this up, I don't know if this is accurate, CVS says like, we're gonna give $100 million to this, and then they ask you to round up, that's part of the 100 million, baby. Thank you. You did it through CVS. Yes. So I don't round up at the grocery store. I literally just don't. What I really want to start doing is carrying around a big stack of singles, and then every time a cashier says, oh, do you want to round up for charity? I just give them $1 and I go, you can have $1 instead. Because I always feel awkward being like, no. Is it insulting to give someone $1? I don't really have enough money to be handing around 20s. Yes, as a former CVS employee, I would literally tell people not to round up. So let's talk about fraud. So the Children's Cancer Research Fund. So the Children's Cancer Research Fund presents itself as an organization dedicated to fighting childhood cancer. However, a closer look at its 2022 financials reveals serious concerns about how they use their donations. Only 47% of their expenses went towards actual programs supporting cancer research or families affected by childhood cancer. That means more than half of all the spending went to overhead, fundraising, and other non-program costs. But remember, marketing can still be considered program costs, so it's probably worse. Where was I? By nonprofit standards, this is poor performance. Most watchdog organizations recommend that at least 65 to 75% of a charity's budget go directly to programs. That feels realistic, 65 to 75%, because you got to pay your staff if you need office space, you got to drive places, like stamps cost money, you got to host fundraisers. I get it. You are going to have internal costs. Okay, Charity Watchdog. I see you. I like that. The inefficiency became even more alarming when you examine how much it cost them to raise money. For every $100 raised, they spent $45 on fundraising alone. That means nearly half of every donation is gone before a single dollar reaches a program. In total, they reported over $4 million in fundraising cost, but that's not all. They reported another $4.4 million in joint cost, expenses that are technically counted as partially educational, but they are often primarily fundraising in disguise. Oh, they did count what I was saying. These might include things like promotional mailers or awareness campaigns that are designed to encourage donations while being classified as program-related spending. This tactic inflates the appearance of charitable giving and helps charities report higher program spending than they truly deserve. So, this is in East Tennessee.
People across the country opened their hearts and wallets to help cancer patients by donating to 4 cancer-related charities, all with ties to East Tennessee. But tonight, state and federal regulators say
this reminds me of when I had to ask people, would you like to save the children at the cash register? Where were you working?
The biggest crackdown on charity fraud ever.
$187 million. That's a lot of money, and it could have helped a lot of cancer patients. But the Federal Trade Commission and regulators from all 50 states alleged that money that was given to 4 cancer-related charities instead wound up in the pockets of the people running those charities. The 4 charities use names like the Cancer Fund of America, Cancer Support Services, Children Cancer Fund, and the Breast Cancer Society. The Cancer Fund was based in Knoxville, and Tennessee Secretary of State Trey Hargett says the others all had strong ties to East Tennessee.
I want to pause and talk about this. While we're talking about this, St. Jude's Children's Hospital is fundraising this month, and they actually do the shit they say they're going to do. As a Memphis native, St. Jude is the best. I have heard pretty good things about them. As a childhood benign tumor survivor, middle finger to these motherfuckers.
The investigation found the defendants lied to people across this nation and would often use 85% or even more of every donation to pay themselves, family, or friends. At every turn, they chose to help themselves over the people they claim to be helping.
Instead, the Federal Trade Commission says in its complaint that most of that money went to pay for cars, expensive vacations, college tuition, gym memberships, and tickets to concerts and sporting events for the people in charge. The government says the charities also use donations to give themselves and family members huge salaries. Federal and state regulators hope to send a strong message.
When you find the generosity in your heart to open your wallet to help others, the last thing you should worry about is that a charity is going to rip that money away from those who truly need it.
Under a settlement, 2 of the 4 charities will be shut down, and 3 of the 4 charity managers are now banned from working for charities. James Reynolds Sr., who ran both the Cancer Fund of America and Cancer Support Services, refused to settle, and he plans to fight the charges in court.
Jennifer, thanks. Of the 3 charity managers who settled with regulators, one has agreed to pay back $60,000 and another will pay back $75,000. People across...
So, the Committee for Missing Children, they market themselves as a child advocacy group dedicated to returning missing children to their families. But a 2023 financial report tells a much different story. One that raises concerns about mismanagement and donor deception. According to their fiscal report, the charity spent just 9% of its cash expenses on actual programs, with a staggering 91% consumed by overhead and fundraising. This is a textbook case for nonprofit functioning more like a fundraising machine than a mission-driven organization. That's what it is, a fundraising machine, that the money just is being fundraised. And they forget that, like, you're supposed to be doing stuff with the money. That's the point. Even more troubling is how the organization raises its money. For every $100 in cash support, the committee spent $83 on fundraising efforts, leaving just $17 for its operations. And of that, only a tiny fraction actually supported the core mission. A huge portion was, again, outsourced to fundraising firms. These should be illegal. The charity received only 16% of its total revenue. And then the 84 cents of the other revenue went to the fundraisers, and certainly not to help the missing children. Feed the Children. Feed the Children presents itself as a major humanitarian organization. They spent only 41% of their cash expenses on actual program services. Even more concerning is a $270,000 payment made to a marketing firm that's owned by one of the organization's own board members. So $270,000 to one of the board's members' marketing company. Perfect. That's going to help those kids. This kind of self-dealing raises serious red flags about conflicts of interest, lack of oversight, and weak governance. Board members are supposed to act in the charity's best interests, not profit from its contracts. Transactions like this can erode public trust and violate ethical guidelines, even if they are technically following the law. Cars for kids. I always hear this ad on the radio. What radio do I hear this on? Oh, it's the sports radio that my fiance listens to. As an agnostic, the only time I wish hell was real is so that people like this can go there. So Cars for Kids is a well-known charity that asks its donors to give away used cars with the promise that the proceeds will go to children in need. But when you look, only 41% of their expenses were allocated towards actual programs. They spent $48 to raise every 100. They're notorious for aggressive marketing ads, including frequent TV ads, radio spots, that's where I hear them, and direct mail campaigns that relentlessly push car donations. These advertising efforts can be effective at raising funds, and they also lead to high fundraising costs and detract from the charity's mission. So again, it's literally just a fundraising machine.
I don't think I can commit. I can just give one off.
Well, thank you so much for wanting to help.
Yeah.
A few people said they want to give a one-off, like £100, £150, stuff like that, which is good.
So sorry.
We're not looking for 4, 5, or 10 years. We'd appreciate if you could try and help us out for just 1 year. So £10 a month, just for 1 year, please. Can you try to help us with that?
Complaints about door-to-door fundraisers have doubled to more than 4,000 in the last 12 months. The fundraising regulator said there were several potential causes for this, including poor behaviour from fundraisers, particularly from third parties and subcontractors. I went undercover at a third-party fundraising firm called IBA
this is
Global,
what I'm fucking talking
which was
about.
signing up donors for Great Ormond Street Hospital Children's Charity. I wanted to find out what fundraisers were being taught and how they were acting on doorsteps. In my second week of training, a fundraiser talked to new recruits about what not to say when trying to sign up donors.
I'm going to ask the question that...
Never give them an option. In sales, if you say... Never use this word if you can.
It doesn't need to, man. Just keep it.
Sorry to disturb.
Okay, so...
Never say these.
Why not?
If you can, I'll give you an option. So... tell me you're busy. Hi, how you doing? You alright, sir?
Yeah, good thank you, but I'm a bit busy at the moment.
If you can give me 20 seconds of however, I say, look, it's 20 seconds, I'm from Great Ormond Street, straight up to the conversation, they're going to listen to you. If they don't listen, they don't qualify as the right person, they're not going to sign up anyway.
One senior member of staff revealed that while fundraising for the National Deaf Children's Society, he created the impression he was deaf to get people to answer the door to him.
Stop.
I remember, this is very cheeky for that National Deaf Children's Society, okay? And then people in the read or whatever just they come and they don't apologize. I'm so sorry. You're deaf? No, by the way, I'm not deaf, mate. I'm just, I mean, work on behalf of them. Thank you very much for your time. I'm not black.
During
I
another
thought he was
training
lying and
session,
saying he's deaf, but this
senior
is still not
fundraiser
good.
told us how he regulates his emotions when going door to door and can make himself cry in front of potential customers.
I control my brain.
This is like a pyramid scheme.
My emotions. I'm not stick silent, but I can look at you here and I can make I'm crying. I'm sure you understand. You can see my face. I'm very into the problem, right? But I can switch. But the good news is, mates, what we're trying to do is we are performing. I'm moving on because I care, and when you care, people do everything for you.
These are the jobs
Days
LinkedIn
later,
offers me.
he talked about the importance of getting people to agree to be contacted by Great Ormond Street Hospital Children's Charity after they sign up.
Is it true or not? You got to say the right things. Lisa, basically they only contact you once a year to let you know what your support has been done over the last 12 months. Is that alright, yeah? Is that alright, yeah? Is okay, yeah? I don't even wait for him to say yes or no. I already answer for him. Is that true or not?
Yeah.
Mates, they send emails to you to let you know how important, you're helping us every single month. Cool, right? Great.
On my third day of going door to door, one woman had to turn a fundraiser down at least 4 times on her doorstep.
Oh, hey there.
Hi.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
The way he's out fundraising, please.
Children's Hospital. This is my bodyguard. I'm guessing you've heard of us before?
Yes.
Amazing. Is that from personal experience or just general knowledge?
No, just
Awesome. Hopefully it stays that way. My colleague's new. He's going to quickly tell you why we're here.
We're obviously looking for a little
Are you
help
on a stool?
extra
No, I'm
at
in a
Christmas
chair.
time. Great Ormond Street sees around 750 children each day. But what we see in the community is people giving as little as £2.50 each week.
This
and
undercover
that's
is
£10 a
killing
month.
me.
Yeah. I don't think I can commit. I can just give one off.
Well, thank you so much for wanting to help.
Yeah.
It really does go a long way.
Yeah.
Like-
I can't commit to every month. Sorry.
Given that the woman had clearly said she cannot commit to monthly payments, this should have been the end of the encounter. But the fundraiser kept trying to sign her up.
This is insane.
But
What's going
I
on
get
in
what you
Great
mean.
Britain?
A few people said they want to give a one-off, like £100, £150, stuff
Oh no,
like
I
that,
can't
which
do
is
that.
good.
So sorry. It's
Well,
just the current economic climate. I can't even do that.
She's so
It's-
polite.
It's
I feel like
not
Americans
even
wouldn't be
going
this polite.
It's just at the most 10 or something I can give now because it's not just Great Ormond Street.
Yeah.
We give to other charities as
Amazing.
well, and I'm
Reason number
sorry, I can't
300 why I don't
stay.
answer the door.
Well, just to clarify, we're not looking for 4, 5 or 10 years. We'd appreciate if you could try and help us out for just 1 year. Can you try and help us out for
This
1
is
year,
insane. I should have done this in college.
For 1 year, £2.50 a month or something.
So
they would be gone.
£2.50 a week, so £10 a month.
A week.
So £10 a month just for 1 year, please.
They would be gone if this was my house. I can tell you that much.
Can you leave me something? At the moment, I'm expecting some guests.
That's
so
fine. Well, Great Ormond Street Hospital, you can find us online. Good luck with the guests.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thanks.
That was so pushy.
Last year, the fundraising regulator opened an inquiry into the use of subcontractors for fundraising, looking at whether charities and agencies were complying with the code of fundraising.
We don't even
practice.
like trick-or-treaters. I love trick-or-treaters.
Its goal is to better understand
I wonder if my
how
new neighborhood
door-to-door
gets
and
trick-or-treaters.
on-street
There's kids here.
fundraising
I see them waiting for the
subcontracts
bus.
are arranged and monitored.
Damn. That's crazy. Great Britain moment. So the TREA Senior Citizens League, what the fuck is that? They claim to advocate for the rights and benefits of seniors. Only 30% of their cash budget went to actual programs. 70% of it went to overhead. They spent $52 to raise each 100 in cash donations. More than half of each dollar raised goes into fundraising. They fail to meet basic governance and transparency standards. It does not make key documents like their IRS Form 990 or annual reports publicly available, which makes it difficult for donors to assess how their money is being spent. Nonprofits are supposed to make these documents publicly available. So larger nonprofits usually have them on their website. Sometimes they make it hard to find, but they are supposed to be publicly available. The Youth Development Fund, a lot of these are in Tennessee. This is a Tennessee, I feel like I've probably given to this. That has raised nearly $30 million and has become notorious for using its donations in highly questionable ways. They claim to educate children about drug abuse, health, and fitness, yet about 80% of its donations go directly to solicitation companies, meaning almost all of the funds that are raised are spent on getting more donations rather than actual programs to help children. This high percentage of funds spent is a clear red flag. Even more egregious is how the remaining funds are spent. A large portion of the money is used to pay for scuba diving videos featuring the charity's founder and president, Rick Bowen. Bowen's for-profit production company is paid about $200,000 per year by the Youth Development Fund to create these videos. He literally made this to pay for his scuba diving movie habit. I'm concerned. The videos are then aired on a local Knoxville television station under the title Rick Bowen Deep Sea Diving, but the program makes no mention of the charity itself or its educational goals. This has led many to question whether the videos are really a form of programming or simply a vehicle for Bowen to promote his own business and personal interests. It really just feels like personal interest. He just wants to be scuba diving on local television and found a way to make $200,000 doing that. Go to the Mariana Trench, big dog. In its IRS filings, the charity claimed that its programming reaches an estimated 1.3 million viewers, but according to the local station manager, actual viewership is only 3,600 people per week. This massive discrepancy between reported and actual viewership raises further doubt about the legitimacies of the claim, Bowen defending it, saying, "We just happen to be the lowest bidder," referring to his decision to rehire his own company despite apparent conflict of interest. Wait, I kind of want to find the scuba diving videos. I'm sorry, I just need to see it. What is it called? Rick Bowen Deep Sea Diving. You guys, I have something to say. He's dead. He just died. So that's a lot. Does it mention anything about the Youth Development Fund? Yeah, in addition to his TV work, he was the president of the Youth Development Fund, where kids were able to meet Michael Jordan. I don't want to watch the video anymore. But that's really good to know. I do feel like I should know that, and I'm glad I know that. That's a lot. So this was a Clinton Foundation allegedly committed charity fraud. I hope this isn't giving like right wing. Oh, it's 9 minutes. I don't really want to watch 9 minutes about the Clintons. We'll watch the first couple seconds and see. Almost on his birthday too. Is Tipping Point with Liz Wheeler? Is this
Tonight, the
right
question
wing?
of the day, was there or was there not a crime committed by
One
the Clinton
American News Report? Yeah, this is giving right wing. We're done. So let's get into something positive. Let's leave it with the dead scuba diver. That is where we will cut the fraud. Yeah, it was giving right wing. It really was giving right wing. So let's move into best practices. Let's talk about what we can learn from this. Let's learn something. So look for transparency and accountability. A reputable charity should be very transparent about their financials and operating. Check to see if they publish IRS Form 990. This outlines financials, including how much of donations go to programs versus overhead. I want to go read this for the nonprofit I interned at. I'm very curious. The Charity Navigator, GuideStar, and Better Business Bureau's Wise Giving Alliance are all great resources to access this information. Key questions to ask: does the charity make this information publicly available? How much of the money raised goes to programs? And does the charity disclose its spending on fundraising and administration? And then check the charity's impact. Ensure that they have verifiable outcomes that demonstrate what they are doing. Can this charity provide proof of impact? Success stories, statistical data. Most large nonprofits do research to see where their money is being used and how it's being used and the impact that it's making. Large, effective nonprofits, most small nonprofits can't afford to get studies like that. Like internal audits is what it's called. Like you can hire a company to come like audit your programs and see what's going on and make reports for you. Most small nonprofits can't afford that. It's very expensive. But most large nonprofits should do that. And the ones that are good do that. Are there third-party evaluations or assessments of its programs? Watch for high fundraising costs like we have talked about at length tonight. What percentage of the donations go to overhead, and do they have a reasonable amount to raise funds, or are the costs disproportionately high? The ideal, like we said, is 65 to 75% of their budget should go directly to programs. And then avoid conflict of interest. Does this charity have an independent board of directors that are free from conflict of interest? Are donations being used to fund programs, or are they being directed to for-profit ventures tied to the organization's leadership, like the scuba diving videos of the fake youth development fund? And then verify their registration and legal status. Are they legally registered as a nonprofit? Do they have proper tax exempt status? Because most of the scam ones, like we said, it's not a loophole, it's a walkway. The laws are so weak, but if they can't even follow this weak ass law, that's how you know something is really, really, really not quite right. So let's talk about mutual aid societies. So mutual aid is a way to help each other, not through a nonprofit, but literally just mutual, meaning more than one person, aid meaning help. So like Dr. Siofound's GoFundMe that has been on my page for coming up on a year now, I think. That fundraiser has been on there for a little over, or almost a year, I think. That's mutual aid. Like I'm not a nonprofit, he is not a nonprofit. I am fundraising on behalf of a person. That is like a very basic definition of mutual aid. Let's watch an educational video now, shall we? It's only $275 to file.
One, it is a communal act, so it's reciprocal, right? So it's not somebody with power and resources giving to somebody else. It's all of us coming together and sharing resources. And another way that mutual aid is different is that it's not on any one person's terms. So for example, how the community fridges are 24 hours a day, anyone can access them at any time. Whereas usually charitable events, it's like a single event or single location, and they're open for a specific amount of hours. And there's also requirements and eligibility criteria for people to participate in their programs. Like traditional food banks, you often need to fill out an application, which requires a home address and likely an identification or citizenship status, which increases barriers to access for so many people. And so by making the fridges contactless and for everybody to access them whenever they need, it decreases those barriers significantly. So that's a little bit of a distinction between how mutual aid works apart from charity.
So a charity is more like structured and an official organization. Mutual aid is just people helping each other. So like someone started this project to put these fridges around and people can put food in or take food out as they need it or have it to give. That is very cool. Mutual aid is always so thoughtful. And like, I know that sometimes I really can give like tinfoil hat. Like I know that I can sometimes sound that way, but like, you cannot rely on the government, okay? You cannot rely on the government for anything, okay? Lots of things that the government facilitates for us to have every day that we're all very comfortable and used to. Electricity, running water, things like that. We have those on a day-to-day basis. We have all been used to having those. So let us think. If we did not have those, something happened, a natural disaster, an attack of some kind. Lots of things that are outside of our control can happen, okay? Power blackouts. Do you think the President of the United States is going to come knocking on your door with a little water bottle for you? Some food? No. All we have is each other. It is so important to have a spirit of helping your neighbors and to know your neighbors. I literally just moved in, so I don't know my neighbors, but I will work on that. This is inspiring me to work on it. And like, that's really all that you have. When push comes to shove, you have what is around you, the people that are around you. Using electricity as an example reminds me of when my fellow Texans froze February of 2021. Exactly. There were the power blackouts in, where was it, Spain and France recently. Like, we need to lean on each other. We need to lean on each other. We need to lean on each other. So why local charities are often the best place to spend your money. Local charities focus on solving problems that directly affect the community you live in. Your donation helps people in a specific targeted population. Many large charities have significant overhead expenses, including national staff salaries, marketing costs, and administrative fees. Local charities typically operate with few staff members and lower overhead costs, meaning more of your money goes directly to people who need it most. Many large charities have significant overhead expenses, including, Anyway, with local organizations, you can easily track the impact of your donation. You might even be able to volunteer or visit the organization to see how your contributions are being used. This transparency is often harder to achieve with larger charities, where it's difficult to see exactly how the money is being spent. And then I think that is where we left off on charities, but we still have our frickin' game. I thought I had 2 more slides, but I guess I was wrong. So, if you don't know, we always play a little game at the end just about what we learned and what we talked about. I really was excited to do this topic. I felt like this is a very important conversation to have because I think especially we're entering a time in our country where a lot of people are going to need a lot of help from each other. Like, we're entering a time that I really just think a lot of people are going to need the support and love and help from each other. I'll leave it at that. And mutual aid is the way to do that. And I think a lot of people choose to take the beautiful human desire to help each other and they choose to exploit that for their own personal gain. And I think that those people should, I don't want to get banned. They should have things done to them that they don't like. This stream is great. I like how the complex topics were broken down. So next week we're talking about the business failings of family. I need to figure out what to say instead of their actual name because it just pisses me off so fucking bad. But some of their business failings are really funny and really stupid. And then let me talk about what we're doing the week after. It won't be an option to avoid it soon. Get in some practice now. Exactly. Build your connections now. Figure out what works now. Let me go ahead and put this on the little game settings so you can start picking your people while I'm yapping about what we're doing in future weeks. Do we want to do carnival? Let's do underwater. I don't think we really do underwater too often around here. Okay, let me read you the schedule. Oh, I have curtains up. I don't know if I told you that. Well, not curtains, but these like little office shade looking things. Where was I? So today was how charities scam. Next week we talked about is the business failures. Oh, I need to like plan further out. I don't have a big plan soon. May 20th will be random lore and gossip from my life. I'm very excited about May 20th. It's going to be messy as fuck. If you know me in real life, I am going to tell the truth about many things, but I did change everyone's name. So if people figure out it was you, that probably means people already kind of knew it was you to begin with. So that's going to be a good one. Let me look through my list while y'all are making your little things. So like the random gossip it's going to be is like random stories from college, an affair that happened at a workplace I was at. Like it's not my gossip. Some of it's my gossip, but that one wasn't. Some of it's my gossip. Some of it's gossip I was just adjacent to. And then some of it's just lore. Like you guys always want to know the Panama lore. Like it's really not as interesting as you think it's going to be, but I'm happy to share it. While you're picking your characters, I'm going to work on our schedule. So where's my little list? Can't wait for roommate lore. Oh, let me add that one to the list. I knew I was forgetting something. I was like planning that one today and I was like, there's something on here that I'm forgetting. Let me figure out what it was. Okay, I put it on there so I won't forget. It's literally not going to be that many slides. It's just going to be like a title and I'm just going to tell the story. But let me find my other list so I can plan out what we're doing the next couple weeks while you're here and we can talk about it. Stream ideas. I know I have this list somewhere. Let me just search for it. The search feature on notes sucks so bad. Okay, let's read through this. I kind of want to do something history related. No. So let me read you kind of what I have here. Recently, someone requested a Chip and Joanna Gaines stream, and I would be quite into that. I don't know if I can handle that emotionally. Oh, we're already doing that one. I don't want to do that one. Ugh, my list is kind of lacking right now. So was thinking about doing Dorothea Lange. That's kind of a historic one. If you don't know, she was a famous photographer in the Great Depression. She has an interesting story. Thought about doing Dorothea Lange. I listened to a podcast about the Great Depression. It gave me lots of Great Depression ideas. California actually did border control during the Great Depression because everyone was trying to move there because of the Dust Bowl. And like the chief of police of LA was like, it was crazy as fuck. So that's an idea, but I don't know if I want to do that yet. This is the thing that I was gonna tell you. There's a sports scandal that I think might be interesting. I don't really know anything about it, so I'd want to like learn about it live with you. It's called the Black Sox scandal. It was in like the 1920s, I believe, about basically like gamblers fixed the World Series in this big gambling ring, and it like created all this legislation and stuff apparently. So I thought that was kind of an interesting one. Someone said epic healthcare, but that's just very serious vibes. Oh, I thought about doing lazy person hacks that I'm passionate about, but I want to think of more of them. I thought you were talking about Bill Belichick. Do the Black Sox scandal? Okay, I probably will. All these are like housewives. I don't think y'all are going to be into this. What about Phaedra Parks? She was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and her ex-husband was like a scammer twice. Are you guys into that? I think that one could be really fun. I have Watergate on here. I think I've done Watergate twice, actually. Or Monica from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Just did scam charities. Would you guys want to do Sandoval? Or I have the history of Airbnb and housing cost. I have Gordon Ramsay, the history of casinos. You guys like the Bravo people? The Wolf of Wall Street guy I thought about. Tyra Banks. Doing the Amish is on here. We have a lot of good stuff. Lot of good stuff. Ugh, my head hurts. Ah. Okay, I think I'm going to put Phaedra on the list. Phaedra's getting added to the list. Ooh, not what I wanted. What date would that be? March or May 27th? Yeah. May 27th. Phaedra Parks of Real Housewives of Atlanta. All right, she is on the schedule. Okay, there's 12 of you in the game. I need to do a better job promoting this stream. I tried this week, but I literally just posted one video like an hour before. Oops. Tyra Banks and her war crimes. A Nene Leakes stream. Oh my God. Yes, but I want to like really put a lot of time and energy into that one. Oh, Greg. Okay, let's play this freaking game. There's 12 of you here. I appreciate those of you that ride with me. That's not what I wanted. I'll put the link in the chat one more time for anyone that still wants to join. Nene. I'm catching up on Real Housewives of Atlanta right now. I'm a couple seasons behind, so don't tell me anything. Kerchow. Also, I need to whisper because he can hear me. No one tell Mr. Redacted that Greg is. Do not tell him. He does not know. Do not tell him. Okay? Below Deck is on my list. Like the history of yachting with some Below Deck, or I thought about just doing Below Deck. I love Below Deck. I'm very behind right now. There's too many spinoffs. I can't keep up with them. I need to like let myself get behind again. Like I got caught up and now I'm like, okay, I'm done. I had a really good dinner, but now I'm hungry again. It was very simple, but it really hit. Mr. Redacted made it. It was ground turkey with bell peppers and onions and sweet potatoes. And then I put a little bit of hot sauce and sour cream on it. It was good. It was very good. We have not had a stream about national parks. I feel like I'm having allergies. I didn't get a sinus infection this allergy season though, so I guess we're moving on up in the world. I washed my hair for the first time in like over a week today. It felt very nice. Why do rich people love donor-advised funds? Ooh, shredded Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. Do you guys follow Sarah Shower? I love Sarah Shower. I've followed her for a really long time. I saw her live one time and like all the love in the world. When I saw her live, I think she was like not going through a positive time. And like the live was still really good, but you could just tell she was like a little off as someone who's very often off. I can see it when other people are off, when they're not feeling good. I can see that look in their eye. I don't really know that much about Tila Tequila. So I've not done a stream because I gotta learn. I can't stop thinking about how good that coffee at work today was. I enjoy her work, but haven't seen anything from her in a long while. What's the #1 rule when giving to charity? What about Trisha Paytas? She might have to be a 2-part. Like, her lore is absolutely insane, and she's had so many scandals that it might just have to be a 2-part. I think it simply does. Which charity is best known for its catchy jingle and poor financial transparency? Even I know the jingle. It's going to be stuck in my head. Does Trisha Paytas have a charity? I respect that Trisha Paytas is a rich person who spends her money on just fun projects that don't hurt anybody. She's like, I want to make a music video where I look like I'm in a war. And then she just does it. Which I can respect that as a way to spend your money. Yeah, okay. Cool. I get it. And her continuously trying to sell that rainbow Birkin. Incredible. Do you guys remember the Coney thing? It's like Coney 2012. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Does anyone know what I'm talking about right now? We should do a stream about that. I realized way too late I could have made Kids for Communism my Nearpod name. Missed opportunity. There's always next week. Maybe we'll do a whole stream about them. It seems like it's pretty straightforward. They just don't do anything. Yes, but I had no idea what Cody was. You don't remember the video? I remember my parents were so mad. They were in the middle of watching a movie and I made them turn off their movie to watch it. But then they were locked in and donated, so kind of feels like their fault. I was 12. Alrighty, scammed in a parking lot. I'm Seg, a Wawa hoagie line, immoral parking lot, the 13th ring, Abby, a Dutch Bros parking lot, Elizabeth Hunt, Scamvilson, Crab, Kamika, iPhone storage, a government parking lot on fire, Blue, Ellen, Scammers Scam, and Melly Lynn. Thank you so much for being here. Any memes, anything to add, anything that you want to share with the group? I enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm kind of incoherent right now. I'm very tired, but I always have a good time with you all. You all are always a fun time. First place, nice work. Alrighty, I will stick around for a few moments to wait for your memes, but I really want to watch Boardwalk Empire. So I'm going to do that. It's really good if you haven't seen it. Don't tell me what happens. I'm on season 1. If you tell me what happens, I will block you and ban you from the stream. Mr. Dacton's business class, when she suggested streamlining U.S. healthcare is an idea that makes sense, but no. I need to start putting y'all's memes in the thumbnail. This one I don't know if it's 100% applicable to the thumbnail, but I really want to put it in there. Rich people wanting all of the money because fuck a mission, an alarming number of U.S. nonprofits, the people getting screwed over, the kids. Okay, that one can be in the thumbnail. That is very much aligned to what we are discussing here. The veterans. Someone made a comment earlier that was very funny that I want to address, where they said, like, when we were watching the video, I didn't want to interrupt the video, where someone said, why would veterans need chef hats? Do they not know how to cook and they have to hide their little mouse helper or rat helper? Would Teach for America be an educator scam? Yeah, but the kids are the ones getting scammed. The kids are the ones getting scammed. If you don't know what Teach for America is, these are my thoughts about Teach for America. I could talk for hours about Teach for America. I think that there are individual teachers in or formerly in Teach for America that care very deeply about their jobs and are very good, passionate educators. There are people like that in Teach for America. I have met many of them. The vast majority of people in Teach for America and the way the organization is structured as a whole is for people to use underfunded schools that are having staff shortages as a pedestal to get into law or medical school. That is kind of like the path that most people in it do. So like I said, I have a lot of feelings about the organization as a whole. A lot of the individuals in the organization I have met and worked with, because I've worked at schools that have those teachers in them. Lots of great people, lots of the teachers in Teach for America that I have met, and from what I've heard, lots of them are very loving to the kids, very kind to the kids, have a great time with the kids, but they do not take giving instruction seriously as a profession. It's lots of like, so much fun, we're having all these games, we're doing all these things, but not like, let me make sure you know how to read, is the vibe that I'm getting. I think a student loan stream would be so interesting. Ooh, it would. Yesterday was the Great Lakes Awareness Day for 2025. I hope y'all were being aware. Stay woke. I have cousins that live in Michigan that I hadn't seen in years, and I saw them at a wedding a couple months ago. And I was like, I want to go to Michigan. And they were like, yeah, Michigan's beautiful. You haven't been since you were a kid, because I visited them one time when I was a kid. And then I was like talking about the Great Lakes, and one of my cousins like works in, I don't know the name of the field. Like he does weather. What is that? It's not astronomy and it's not astrology. He does weather. And I was like talking about the Great Lakes, and he was like, this is a lot of information. How do you know all of this? Because he was like lit that I knew so much about the Great Lakes. And I was like, I do this stream. Meteorology. That's the weather. Yeah, I don't know if he does meteorology. I think meteorologist is a specific title that I don't know if he has. But anyway, he does meteorology. He's been doing it a while. He has multiple degrees in meteorology. And I was like, I could tell he was like shook that I knew about the Great Lakes. And I was like, I know about the Great Lakes. I was like, I'm on the internet talking about the Great Lakes. I'm spreading awareness about the Great Lakes. And he was like, that's awesome. We really appreciate it. And I was like, yeah, we haven't really seen each other in a while. Being with family is always interesting, but he is super cool. We should be closer. I've seen a lot of family members recently that I haven't seen in a really long time. And I'm like, oh yeah, some of you guys I like kind of fuck with. I was like, oh, been a minute. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. This is always a very fun time for me. I will see you next week to talk about the failures. Failure. Yay. And yeah, I love you so much. Have a good